This is our explainer webinar for one of our Techscaler courses, Startup Next Steps. And so thank you for joining us today. I'll just get started by running through the agenda so you know what to expect from today. So I'm going to do a little brief intro to Techscaler, although I am assuming quite a few people are already familiar from ending up at this event. And then, of course, we will go into the details of our Startup Next Steps course. I'll then cover off the eligibility for this course and look at the objectives for the founders and participants taking part. We'll also go into a bit of a deep dive of the curriculum week to week and what to expect and what our aims are there. Cover off also the formats of how to take part and what's available and the key dates that you need to know. And we'll finish off with just touching on the application process for both Techscaler and for enrolling in Startup Next Steps. And then we've got plenty of time at the end for Q&A. So please feel free to pop your questions in as we go. Anything that we cover in the presentation, we can come back to just to reiterate during the Q&A. And yeah, so lots of time for any questions that you have. Okay, so just so you know who is here today, you've got a collection of us from Team Education, and I'm Claire. I am the Education Programme Manager for Next Steps. I work specifically on our Techscaler offering, and I'm joined by Shona, who is the VP of Education Programmes here at Codebase. She's also going to chat a little bit about her background working in startups and how her experiences have fed into the thinking of designing this course as well. And then also with us, we've got Nawal, who is managing the tech today. So she'll be with you in the comments and sorting out your Q&A. And then Shona at the end will help me facilitate those questions that are coming in. So the intro to Techscaler and Startup Next Steps. So Techscaler is a Scottish government-funded programme that aims to increase the number of successful tech startups across Scotland. And we do this by connecting you with experts, sharing world-class playbooks, and we also have spaces, physical hubs across Scotland for people to come together and connect. The three main pillars of Techscaler are place, which are these physical buildings and hubs, community, which stretches over the whole of the country in all the hubs, as well as our online community, to make sure that no matter where you are in Scotland, you have access to the offering. And then education and mentorship, which is what you'll be hearing lots about today, which is across courses and one-to-one mentorship with experts who are those few steps ahead of you in your startup journey. And very crucially, all of this is free to join. As I said, it's all ScotGov funded, so there's no cost to you as a participant. So Startup Next Steps, this is our mid-stage programme and the one that you are here to learn about today. It's a practical course designed for founders and senior team members who are looking to prepare their products for scaling, and they should already have a product in market with some active users. We'll go into this detail a little bit more in the eligibility section later. And we will have 10 core sessions that happen over 12 weeks. Majority of these are going to be held online with bookend in-person events that will also be streamed for anybody unable to make them. And Startup Next Steps is a benefit of being a Techscaler member. So in order to take part, you must be a Techscaler member, but that is nice and easy to sign up to, and we'll share those details too. So to avoid any doubt here, just to clarify what it is we mean when we say tech startups. So this is a business that should have a single software product at the core of its business. So it shouldn't be bespoke to specific clients, and it should be scalable. Techscaler is also sector agnostic, which means no matter what industry you are building a business in, you are very welcome to come along to all of the Techscaler activities. Now, also just to give a bit of context on where this program sits amongst the whole education offering. So we have a pre-startup course, which is self-paced and accessible through our online community platform. This is basically for anybody who is just interested in startups or perhaps wants to go back and brush up on some of the basic frameworks. That is just there to work through at your own pace, and we recommend that everybody has a look at that. And then the next stage is Startup First Steps, which is actually running at the moment. And I think I spotted some names of people that were past participants and current participants, which is lovely. So this stage is for anything from the ideation stage through to testing your MVP. And you're also very welcome to take part in this course, even if you're eligible for next steps. You might decide that there are things that you want to make sure you are clear on and have those foundations. And so then next stage is the Startup Next Steps, which we're here to talk about today. And as I mentioned, it's for businesses that are preparing to scale, who have already got a product in market and have got some customers. And then our final stage is for scale-ups. We have an advanced training program in partnership with Silicon Valley-based company Reforge, who provide scale-up education and training, and we help people from Scotland access that fully funded. I also just want to draw your attention to the fact that we've got these little green progression points. None of our programs are designed to feed directly into each other. It's not meant to be fully linear. You can really jump in where it suits you, and you can go back and revisit things. But the best value that you'll get is by taking part in something and then going away to work on your business and really apply the lessons that you've learned there. And we also have several cohorts running each year, so there's opportunities to always join. We don't want people to feel hurried into taking part. Okay, so eligibility, which I am sure is one of the things that people are most keen to hear about. So as I said, this course is designed for founders and senior team members, and we definitely encourage team participation where possible. We've been asked in the past about what senior roles, but we're not prescriptive about this. It really just matters for your company. Who are the people that are crucial to the company, who can really steer things forward, and that their participation in these courses will really have influence on the business. So as I mentioned, you need to have a software product in market, so it needs to be accessible to users, which means that if you're still building your MVP or even in any closed testing, then you're just that little bit too early at this point. And you also need to have some active customers, and these customers don't need to be paying customers, but yeah, free customers are okay too. These are some signals. So when we say you might, this refers to basically some signals that could indicate that this course is a good fit for you. So you might be building your team. You might have recently raised some investment under $1 million. You might be looking to raise a late seed or Series A round in the near future. And you might be revenue generating, but that doesn't mean that you are necessarily profitable at the moment. And you could be looking to explore adjacent market opportunities and secondary product lines. So just to clarify here that you are just a bit too early at the moment. If you're still looking to develop a product that replicates a manual process, or you're still in that beta testing phase or closed testing phase, and if you haven't got an idea or executed one yet, then we have other offerings for you, but this is just you're not quite ready for this course, but we have other things to offer you. So there is support at any stage you're at. Okay, so the objectives for the founders and team members participating in this course. Overall, we're hoping to help you prepare your startup to scale. We'll be helping you explore mechanisms for expanding your market share. We'll be helping you move from tactical business progress to strategic business growth. So thinking about working on your business rather than just working in your business, being a bit more measured and planned rather than reactive to things that are happening. We hope to help you develop your understanding on what product market fit means for your startup, because it looks a little bit different for each business. And last but certainly not least is to meet and learn from other startups in Scotland at a similar stage. We are big fans of peer learning and connecting and sharing with each other to help push things forward. And I'm going to have a little pause in speaking and hand over to Shona so that she can give you a little bit of detail of her past experience and how that feeds into what we are doing here at Next Steps.
Thanks, Claire. And it's just a little bit noisy outside, so hopefully that doesn't sort of trickle through to here. But also just to mention, because I think the criteria was mentioned quite a lot, and I know we've had a lot of questions about people sort of just about to launch or expecting to launch before the close of the deadline. And it really is important that you have active customers and that you are already in market. And that actually you may get more better benefit from this if you do wait that 6 months to get that launch to happen and to acquire early customers, and then come to Next Steps the next time we run it, which we expect to be possibly January 2025. We don't want to put that out there and confirm yet, but it won't be that long until that opportunity is there. So it is worth taking time to make that happen. So yeah, just to introduce myself a bit, so I'm Shona and run the sort of education program for startups at Codebase. My background's in the travel industry, travel and tourism, and then I joined a startup as the first employee, first non-founder on the team back before we launched. So we were at beta stage, we definitely hadn't launched, we didn't have any customers, and we were like Airbnb for people with disabilities. We raised we had a grant funding to get us through the first 6 months to launch something, and then we managed to raise £300,000 from angel investors to take us on the next stage of our journey to really get into market and to hit what I think is this stage of startup next steps. But at the time, it wasn't a time where startup communities were really as much of a thing. It was back in sort of 2015, 2016 that we were doing this, and there was Google. I think it was called Google Garage or Google Campus in London, but there weren't really the same sort of other programs available apart from Y Combinator being the only one, which is based out in San Francisco. And the reason the program's been designed in the way it has is because I and others in the company have experienced these pain points that really do come when you've got something in market you're trying to grow. There's not many of you working on it. Your resource constrained, and you want to be as smart as possible about hitting that next stage of growth and being able to accelerate your business. So it's been designed from that personal experience and from what we believe we see out there as sort of best practice in startup building. We were really, I guess fortunate is a good word, but we were looking then to raise £2 million after we'd worked through that 18-month period of our angel investment. And at the time we got offered an acquisition offer instead, and that came from Airbnb. And so we integrated the product into Airbnb's platform. So if you now go to airbnb.com and on the homepage, scroll right across the top through all the categories, you'll get to the wheelchair accessible category, which is beautiful, has some amazing properties, and has a lot of the features that we were starting to work on, such as AI recognition of images to prove accessibility criteria, video tours of properties so people can see the flow and whether it works for the disability that they have. So I guess just to share some stories of where this journey could go for you as well. And then I think we get on to what that means for Startup Next Steps. on the next slide.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Shona. And yeah, just to mention as well, at Codebase, there are a number of us in the education team and beyond who have that working in startups experience. But we bring in experts to run the workshops, and it's all designed off of learnings from people and businesses we've seen over many, many years. So getting into the curriculum, the meaty part of this. So one thing that we do say is, like, not every single thing will be explicitly relevant to you, but the aim is that, you know, at least 70% is going to have some really crucial key insights for you. But we do keep it generalist to make sure that we are hitting all the problem areas, and making sure that we've got everyone covered off. So thinking about the flow of these weeks, you'll notice they are broken into chunks with a couple of non-teaching week breaks in the middle, which I'll detail later what the plans for those are. But the first block is really about underpinning some of the fundamentals, thinking about you being prepared as a leader going forward, and working on knowing your product and getting ready for the market share changes. Block 2 is not just looking at some key pain points, but also opportunities. It's all around growth. So we look at acquisition of customers, sales cycles, growing your team, and growing your product. And then that final block is when we look at some of the practical steps for what to do next, how to really reflect on everything that's happened in the course so far, and how you can implement actions into your business going forward. So week 1 is our growth and leadership mindset, where we'll help you challenge your assumptions of your business and think about how you'll be bringing your team along on the journey, and thinking about more than just leadership of the team, but thought leadership, and how your startup can really be positioned as leaders, yeah, considering how you want to really be measured about leading your team going forward as well. Week 2 is business strategy, where we'll review your product market strategy using best practice frameworks and playbooks, and help you get some practical actions together for moving forward with your next stage of business growth. Week 3, we look at product fundamentals and how to grow. So obviously we will be covering the fundamentals of product growth, and we'll also lean into product-led growth, and the importance of planning out your strategy and roadmaps, thinking about what factors can really put your product under pressure as you're growing. And then we go on to the second block. So sales and marketing, we want to help you get clarity on a strong single value proposition for your startup, and looking at the various acquisition channels that are available, and helping you think about designing experiments to test for the best opportunities for your business. Then week 5, we look at tech sales. So we look at how sales is actually a lot less scary than most people think, and how to increase your revenue through the implementation of a sales process, thinking about some more effective selling techniques, and helping you understand and identify key buying signals. Then on to week 6 is growth mechanisms. So we'll help you review how you'll grow customers efficiently and transition to long-term activation and retention of those customers. Then week 7, we look at building a team, which is not just revisiting the basics of employer responsibilities, but thinking about how you upskill team members, how you the importance of intentional culture building, and the fact it'll happen regardless of whether you are intentional about it, and really how to plan your people plan around your business product and growth plan. Then into our final chunk. So funding and money, we obviously are chatting about how to be smart with your money. We'll cover runway planning, cash flow forecasting, and shifting revenue streams. We'll also have a panel on this session. So as well as getting into some of the nitty-gritty bits, it is also hearing from people and learning from their experiences, and potentially being warned of some pitfalls that have been experienced. And then week 9, we look at pivots, failures, and exits. So we're really trying to get you to envision what success looks like for you, because it can take many different forms, and it's good to be clear on what success would be for you, and think about the different routes that it can take. And then we also learning from experiences of people that have been through pivots, failures, and exits. We'll also look at taking some time to plan out your next steps and thinking about what that means for you. And then our final week is a little bit of a celebration week, which is a lovely opportunity to come together with not just fellow participants, but we invite along other ecosystem partners and other startups and investors and funders. And the content of that day looks at plenty of Q&A panels, both with investors and funders of different veins. So, you know, it won't all be VC. We'll be looking at grants and making sure that we cover off lots of diversity in money there. And also just hearing from other founders that are those few steps ahead of you to really hopefully inspire you for taking away all of the learnings of this course and implementing them into your business. Okay, and just a little taster of some of the speakers that we have booked in for this cohort already. So as I said, we bring in people that are experts and have already been where you are at the moment. And so we've got some big companies lined up as well. So Rosie, who will be, she is a product growth expert. She's previously worked with What 3 Words and Peanut App, and she'll be taking the growth week. We've got Sophie, who is a finance expert, and she currently works with Charlie HR, and is the founder who runs events, Finance for Founders as well. And also Amy Wallace, currently a leadership coach and facilitator, and she worked at Slack for over 8 years and set up the Slack app directory. So lots and lots of knowledge there, and that is just a small sample of who we'll have coming along to speak. Okay, so format and dates. Don't worry too much about scribbling these things down. We do have them available on the landing page as well. But our core sessions, as I mentioned, they'll run on Wednesday afternoons from April to June, 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. Majority of the course will be held online via Zoom. We want you to be able to see each other's faces and connect in breakout rooms with conversation and workshop activities. But we do have the bookending of weeks 1 and weeks 10, so that we have opportunities to come together in real life and yeah, a little bit of celebration to start us off and to complete. The core sessions themselves will be a mixture of presentations, workshops, and panels, and we try to fit in as much time as possible for you to connect with each other and be working together on some of the concepts introduced in the sessions. Outside of the core sessions. We also have, there'll be bookable one-to-ones with both speakers and other experts. And also we'll have some extra events that'll happen both online and in person. And we also have a community platform, which is open to everybody, but we will have a dedicated group within that for the participants of this cohort, where we'll share all of the information that's required for taking part, and also encourage you to chat with other people and share things that you've worked on from concepts that have been introduced. And then commitment and expectations wise, we know you are busy people. So 3 hours per week is the core sessions, except from those 2 non-teaching weeks on the 1st of May and the 5th of June. And then what we're hoping is for completing, you need to attend at least 6 out of the 10 sessions that we'll be running. We do also provide the recordings because things happen and busy schedules, etc. So you can still catch up with those recordings, and it's possible to declare to us that you've done that as well. And we do really want to stress that you'll get the most value out of this course from fully committing and making sure that you have time to dedicate to the core sessions, and also some thinking time after to put those learnings into action. And we just want to stress there'll be other opportunities. So you shouldn't force yourself to go through because you're worried about missing out. Yeah, you really want to be able to jump into it. Okay, so those are the core session dates that I have already mentioned, and some other key dates are that we are going to have those non-teaching weeks. We'll have some regional events with specific dates to still be confirmed, but we want to try get out to each hub so that we can have the participants in specific hubs come together. We also need you to apply for Techscaler membership by the 12th of March. And then you need to submit your enrollment request for next steps by the 18th of March at midday. And then we'll review those and get back to you about whether or not you've been successful for taking part in this cohort anyway. And then we'll also have a welcome session on Wednesday, the 3rd of April, which will just be a short session to help you run through the tools, where to find information, and just make sure that you're prepared for taking part. And then we'll also, once we've reviewed all of those applications, we will start the onboarding emails and communications for you to quite difficultly, I've put 2 question marks. So I think that's the 25th of March. I think that's supposed to be. I'll be able to confirm shortly as well. Sorry about that. Okay, so the application and what is involved. So for anybody that's here on the call that isn't currently a Techscaler member, this QR code, and I believe now I was going to pop it into the chat for you, this will take you to the Techscaler application via the next steps landing page, so that we know that that's what you're interested in. You'll be asked some questions that basically, as much detail as possible, really helps us tailor what help you need from Techscaler. And then if you are already a Techscaler member and you haven't heard anything yet, but you meet the eligibility criteria and you're keen for this cohort, then please do get in touch with us via the membership@techscaler.co.uk email address, and we'll be able to sort that out for you. So for enrolling into Startup Next Steps, we just have a short process to help us determine that you are at the right place, but also it allows us to get a bit more information on you so that we can be briefing speakers and building in bits of content that are really tailored to where the people on this cohort are at right now. Yeah, once you've been invited to submit that enrollment request, we'll need you to give us your marketing website so that we can see how your customers get your product, and then a video that is 90 seconds or less. So that video should just be a brief overview of the problem that you're solving, who you're solving it for, and what it is you're doing to solve that problem. We want to know how you came up with the idea and why it's a needed product. And also an overview of your current traction with customers. I just want to mention here that for some people, a video submission might feel a bit intense, but this is really not needing to be polished. So far, submissions we've had have been just videos on phones. Some people have chosen to use tools like Loom to screen share and do a walkthrough of the product. But hopefully these are all things that you are able to reel off pretty easily whilst talking about your product. So just very low effort, send it over to us in a video, and we are definitely not judging any production skills here. Okay, and just before we move on to the Q&A section, I just wanted to mention some testimonials from people who took part in our autumn 23 cohort. So Antonia said that the experience with Techscaler has been brilliant, and it's been really interesting to hear from so many people that have real experiences of some of the challenges. And John said, it's given me that solid foundation to build from and filled in so many gaps in my knowledge, which is obviously very lovely for us to hear. And I am now going to move to the Q&A section where Shona is going to jump in to help me.
Thanks, Claire. We've got one from Karen already. And I know, Karen, you've been on one of our programs before, which is great. So Karen says, we have a product and we have over 100 users. The back end is processed manually at the moment. We will need to raise funding, I assume, in order to automate the process. Are we too early?
It's slightly hard for me to say. It depends slightly. Maybe Shona, you can come in to help me with that, with really determining what we mean by the manual process section.
Yeah, so I guess it depends whether the product itself has functionality in it. If it's just like a website where someone submits a form and you then tackle it as a service inquiry and you deal with it all manually, then that potentially would be a bit early, because we do look at your product roadmap about being able to implement product feature changes and about using your product as a growth opportunity. So that would be where you could leverage the product features to grow your customer base more automated. So it depends, Karen, and maybe that's something where we'd have to have a look at, maybe submit the application and see where that gets to you, because the review panel will have a look at where you are at the moment with it. It'd be great if you, submit that sort of demo video style so we can see what your process looks like.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Shona.
Thank you, Karen. So it's editing video that is contributed by a user. So I guess, Karen, for me, it would definitely depend on how much, on whether you've got some parts that are definitely tech product in there versus some parts that are still manual, because that would be relevant. So definitely submit an application. We got anyone else? I guess there's a few people I can spot on the call who I know are keenly launching right now and acquiring customers. So just a reminder that those customers don't need to be paying necessarily, because we know sometimes that paid features or paid tiers, if you're a subscription freemium style product, do often come a bit later down the line, but we do need them to be people who are actively using it to solve a problem in their business and aren't just friends and family who are testing your product to see if it works. So they do need to be people who are in your market, your customer type, who have that problem and are really trying to solve it.
Yeah, absolutely. Converting customers from free users into paid users is a very common challenge that we will broach in the content as well.
Yeah, actually, one of our speakers, I'd recommend if that's a thing that you're looking at, Rosie So her name is Rosie Hogmascal, with lots of double consonants in there. She does some amazing LinkedIn posts where she analyzes different products, onboarding flows, customer messaging, marketing emails, and the journey that she's gone through as a customer of those products and apps, to show you where there are opportunities to add those values, or where she thinks her company's doing it really well. She did one on Spotify recently that I really loved. So follow her on LinkedIn, and you'll be able to see the content that she does around those topics as well. And those are the types of speakers that we have, who'll be able to share those real life examples of where they've either done it in practice or they analyze other people's and show you where the opportunities are. Oh, I got one more. Okay. Anyone else got any questions? I know we do get lots of questions specifically around those criteria for enrolments, but the best thing you can do is submit an application form and have a discussion if there's anything there.
I'll just mention again that we kind of recommend to be comfortable with the kind of content that you might find from First Steps. So thinking about like jobs to be done theory. So even if you are hitting all of the criteria, you will be accepted to do First Steps if you want to make sure that you have all of those foundations ready. So yeah, there's options no matter what stage you are at.
Some familiar names here. Shiv, I know that you were looking for some customers on your trip from Inverness back to Edinburgh last week after the First Steps session. So and I know you've been testing it live, so it sounds like you'd be a perfect fit at the moment. If you've got any more questions, yay, going to get an application in from Shiv, who's just finishing our First Steps program, but is now sort of active with some early testers with his product, which is administration support for construction companies. And I got to see a demo of it last week, which was really cool.
And although I mentioned at the start that it's not designed to be linear hopping between courses, we have had people who took part in the first cohort of First Steps, and then the first cohort of Next Steps that followed maybe 3 months or 4 months later.
Yeah, I think that's all the questions that we've had come in answered, and I think there is a lot of information that's been shared maybe that's helped to answer people's questions that I had heard beforehand, and I said join the info session and you'll find out some more of that. So I think you've probably covered it all, Claire.
Wonderful. I did do a whole chunk of talking, didn't I? We'll let it hang for a few minutes more in case anybody's furiously typing out a question or is still trying to formulate exactly how to ask the question. But yeah, I'm just trying to think about the key things to stress again. We said again about it being product and market and those active customers, for it to be you to have already had experience of your product working away and getting everything, all your ducks in rows and preparing for scaling. It was very nice to see so many familiar faces from First Steps as well. Always feel like that's a glowing review. People want to come back.
Yeah, great to see you, Callum. Thanks for joining and thanks for letting us know it was what you needed. Jenna, I know, so Jenna, I'm calling too many people out here, but Jenna joined our First Steps program last year, and so has been away for 6 months building her MVP, and she's managed to get a technical co-founder as well, and so there's a product come to life from the end of that program that hopefully will now come through the Next Steps program 6 to 9 months later. So very exciting to see people going out and building things that are coming back in later on, and hopefully we'll see you on Next Steps.
Okay, I think if that is all the questions there is, then we can finish up. Thank you very much for coming along today to get some more information. I'm just going to pop that slide with the Techscaler membership form QR code there for you. And any questions that come up later, you're very welcome to get in touch with membership@techscaler.co.uk and the team will get back to you. Thank you very much for coming along, everyone. And hope to see some of you on the cohort of Next Steps starting in April. Thanks.
Thanks, Shiv. Hopefully we'll see you there.